I had the option to draft that year, and I had the option to go to yeshiva for another year. Speaking to a lot of my Rabbi about it, and they said, look, physically, like, you're fine, you know, like, you could run, you could hike 15 miles, whatever. But religiously, like, what do you personally feel? Because we could tell you stories from us, but, like, you're your own person. And I remember speaking to one Rav, and he said, I want you to picture yourself in 20 years. I want you to picture yourself sitting around the Shabbat table. I'm looking at my Shabbat table. What do I want to see? What do I want my kids to look like? What do I want my wife to look like? And based off of that, that's how you want to build yourself. Saying, if I go to the army, this is what I think I'm going to look like. You know, I don't know for sure, but this is what I'm going to look like. If I go to yeshiva for another year, I get to work on myself for another year. I get to grow more religiously for another year. And then this is what I think I'm going to look like. And based off of that, you make your decision. So I decided to go back for a second year, and then I drafted after that.
Baruchim Abayim, and welcome to Torah Talks Chazaq's program with special guests. We have with us our dear Rabbi David Delman from Chazaq, Chazaq Teens Division, and his son, Pinchas Delman. Baruch haba, welcome.
Thank you.
And we're going to be speaking about Israel, faith in fighting. I'm sure you see, Pinchas is in the army, the Israeli army. And what is the day-to-day of being a frum soldier in the army, Pinchas?
Well, every day is different. Most of the time we wake up around 5, between 2 and 5. If it's a week that we go home for Shabbos, it's usually once a month that we get to go home for Shabbos. We wake up at 2. And we wake up, we have our regular morning routine, shine your boots, make your bed, whatever you need to do. And then we usually go to Shachars, which is the one, like, you know, you finally get to wake up, you get to relax, you get to really, really focus in on, you know, Hashem, like, I want to be successful today. I don't know what they're throwing at me. They don't really tell us what we do until we get there. But it's like, look, I want to be successful today. Give me the strength to be successful today. You kind of just get to, you know, let it all out first thing in the morning, and then go about our day. Usually it's we'll go to the range, we'll shoot a bit. Sometimes we go out to the desert, train there. And then during the training, we usually have a few breaks. We have a mincha and mariv, mandatory by the army. And then if we have any off time, or let's say we already finished doing something and the next group is doing it, they'll give us time to pull out a sefer. Everyone keeps farm in our pockets. Baruch Hashem, we have big pockets. And yeah, we always keep stuff. I've had where we're doing like 4 hours shmirot, and I'm able to learn for 2.5 hours out of it.
Wow.
And yeah, like, we make time for learning. They give us time for learning. We have time for davening, and Baruch Hashem, it's really nice.
You always wanted to become a soldier? Was it always something that you're interested in? Rabbi Delman, was this always in your sons?
I certainly I would love to hear Pinchas's perspective on this as well, but certainly from a parent's perspective, Penny was one of those kids that dressed up as Sahal when he was 5 years old, but never grew out of it. And we all said, oh, it's probably a phase. All the kids in school, Chayal for Purim, Chayal for Purim. And his desires just got stronger and stronger over the years. And it just so impressed me that as a teenager, as we know, as a social worker, we know so many of our teenagers really don't have shitas, don't have, you know, perspective, or they don't have, you know, policy in their minds. But Penny at a very young age saw right and wanted to do right, and felt that his connection to Eretz Yisrael, and particularly fighting for Eretz Yisrael, had been important to him as early as maybe 10,
wow,
11, 12, perhaps even before Bar Mitzvah.
Wow. Could you tell us the journey about training in the army?
Like pre-army. So pre-army was just pretty much like, I've been playing sports all my life, Baruch Hashem. So I came into the army in pretty decent shape to begin with. You know, running wasn't always a problem with me. I think I was trying to focus more on pre-draft. I heard a lot of rumors that it's very, very hard to be frum while you're in the army. And, you know, I'm hearing it from outside sources. I know guys that were in the army that are telling me, like, you know, just relax about it. And so I didn't really know what to expect. I went to yeshiva for Shana Aleph, and I was ready to draft then. And things didn't really work out. The yeshiva wasn't really for me, so I decided to transfer to another one. And I decided to go back for a second year. And that second year, it was very, very, very conflicted for me, because I had the option to draft that year, and I had the option to go to yeshiva for another year. And I was speaking to a lot of my Rabbi about it, and they said, look, physically, like, you're fine, you know, like, you could hike 15 miles, whatever. But religiously, like, what do you personally feel, because we could tell you stories from us, but like you're your own person. And I remember speaking to one Rav, and he said, I want you to picture yourself. It was one of the best mushers I've heard. And he said, I want you to picture yourself in 20 years. I want you to picture yourself sitting around the Shabbat table, and you look around the table and you see your family like sitting there. What do you want that to look like? And based off of that, you said you start up here and then you work your way down. You based off, I'm looking at my Shabbat table. What do I want to see? What do I want my kids to look like? What do I want my wife to look like? And based off of that, that's how you want to build yourself. Saying, if I go to the army, this is what I think I'm going to look like. You know, I don't know for sure, but this is what I'm going to look like. If I go to yeshiva for another year, I get to work on myself for another year. I get to grow more religiously for another year. And then this is what I think I'm going to look like. And based off of that, you make your decision.
Wow.
So I decided to go back for a second year. And then I drafted after that.
What was the feeling, Rabbi Delman, when you heard your son was drafted?
So it was actually, it was a deal, frankly, that we made. As I'm sure the audience has heard in the news, that about a year and a half, maybe it's almost 2 years already, when Haredim, when the religious community started to get draft notices, Penny was actually one of the first to get a draft notice. He was learning in yeshiva, and the deal that Penny and I had was that Penny would not go looking for the army, but if the army came looking for Penny, that he felt that was a sign from Hashem, that was a sign from heaven, that he should go. And I was maskim. I agreed, and I said, okay. I want to just say in full disclosure, because I always try to be 100% straight shooter, my wife is incredible. Penny's mother is a Balat Emunah, just incredible, God-fearing and more, just trusting in Hashem. She always wanted this. I tolerated it. I tolerated it. She wasn't wanting and tolerating. And I have to say, really, Akar Satov to my son, because often with the greatest nachases, which Penny is one of our greatest nachases, one of our greatest pride and joy, he has made me a better person. My son has certainly made me a better person in working on my emunah and being tested in ways that I never thought that I would be tested in my emunah and my, and we're all very, very, Tzioni, and we're very, very, yay for the army. And now it's like, all right, let's see what it's like when it's your kid there. How are you going to feel then? Right. So certainly my emunah has been tested in many ways over these past 10 months or a year or so. And it has certainly made me a better, stronger Jew. So I'm very grateful to my son for that.
Wow. What are some of the challenges of keeping Torah and mitzvot within the army?
That's a good question. So it was like I was telling you before, that to me personally, it's a lot about the mentality of a person. That, look, for me, again, I went into the army. I said, I was very happy to go. I was waiting for that letter. Again, I had to deal with my father that I wouldn't go chasing them, but if they came to me, and yes, I did daven a little bit that they would come to me. I knew it. That I would go. But
prayers works.
Yeah,
of course.
Baruch Hashem. And no, so I went in saying, look, whatever unit I get drafted to, I'll be happy with. If I have to be in combat, I'd be really happy. Amazing zechut. But if I had to do a desk job, I would still be happy, because it's such a zechut to be there. It's such an honor to be there defending Am Yisrael and what you believe in, and it's just amazing. So when I got in, again, I wasn't really sure about everything. I was still a little bit nervous. I did that second year in yeshiva. I even drafted through a yeshiva program. So basically what I do is I went to yeshiva for around a year, 2 zmanim, 3 zmanim, and then I'm serving for a year and a half, possibly more. And then I returned to yeshiva post-army. It's what a lot of guys do, Hesder program. But I realized once I got in that it's only my class in my unit, which is religious. And there are other religious kids, not in my class, but in other ones that are within my unit. And I'm very, very thankful that I came in with the mentality of, I want to do this. I have shacharit, and even though it's 5 a.m., I could be sleeping through it. I got 3 hours of sleep last night, sometimes less, but I want to daven because I know that it's going to empower me through my day. Or I have these 15 minutes of learning, I'm American, my Hebrew isn't, that good. And I could be studying my Hebrew, but instead I'm taking out a Shulchan Aruch and I'm learning, the halachot of washing, because I'm in the middle of the desert and we don't always have enough water to fully wash your hands, but also be drinking. So
I just add to that, I always found it very amazing. Penny's Rabbi, who comes to visit him on base, so the learning that they do, I always found this really interesting, is learning that is directly correlated to their service. So Penny told me that the Rav came and they were discussing in the army how to make an Erev in the desert. Like, how do you do that? Shabbos, we're in the middle of nowhere and we want to carry. So pull open a Maseches Erevin to discuss the army's perspective and how we follow halacha in building an Erev in the desert. So it's very hands-on. I just think it's like Torah come to life.
Yeah, it was. He comes to our base a lot. Baruch Hashem, we've made two CM since I got there, and it was just, it wasn't like we were told to do it. We had one kid just get up and he said, we have time while we're training. Everyone finish 2 or 3 dafim and we'll make a CM. And Baruch Hashem, we've already made 2. We're really excited to start our 3rd Masechta. Not sure what it is yet, but it's really about how far you're willing to push yourself. Like, yes, physically you push yourself, okay, great, I could push myself. I don't think I could, run this far, and then you realize that you can. But it's really about like that mental push, that push of, I don't really have to do this, but I want to. I don't really have to daven today because, I'm sure Hashem understands that I woke up an hour ago, but I want to. Or even something small, or not small, but like, my base is in Eilat, so when we're training there, it's on average 105 degrees.
Wow.
It is extremely hot, and we're there in full gear, and we're not allowed to roll our sleeves up when we're in our gear. I don't know, that's just the rule. And we're all sitting there sweating, but you see every single guy wearing tzitzis. Every single guy. What do you mean? It's 107 degrees outside. We're all wearing heavy gear. We're walking around wearing cotton tzitzis. Why? Because we want to do it. Because it's something that it's special to us. And if it's really, really meaningful to you, you're willing to mentally push yourself to that.
A great point that Penny shared with me was, and I think this answers up a lot of criticism that I've heard in the past, which is the Army's not yeshiva. The Army gives you opportunity to grow. If you choose to take that opportunity, right? So there's opportunity for tefillah, there's opportunity for davening, there's opportunity for learning, there's opportunity. If a person doesn't want to take that opportunity, that's on you. Baruch Hashem, Penny seems to take those opportunities and growth, and certainly the pictures and the videos that Penny shares with us, just the incredible, particularly Erev Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos. He says, Dad, there's nothing like, you told me, like nothing like Shabbos, on base with all the soldiers and dancing and the Avos Yisrael of Jewish people, not just, Penny's unit, and I'm sure you'll tell them more about the unit in a bit, but Jews from America, Jews from England, Jews from all over the world, kind of under one banner, Am Yisrael. I mean, it's palpable. It's through the roof exciting.
Wow. So tell us a little bit more about the unit that you're in.
So my unit's called Handasa Kravi. In English, doesn't sound as cool. In English, it's just a combat engineer. But basically, we're the explosive experts of the IDF. So whenever, there's a war going on, as our slogan, Rishon Tamid, we go in first, usually with the special forces and usually other units. We're not a unit that works, biachad. Not biachad. We're not one unit that works, just us. We work with other units. And we go through the houses, we go through tunnels, and we clear them out and then bring them down.
Wow. That's very intense job over there. Yeah. This is in Gaza, I guess.
So my specific one, I'm in 601. So we operate in Gaza. But the other units or platoons, they operate in Lebanon, wherever. With us, it's wherever we're needed is where we go.
Wow. It's worth noting that Penny's unit is called the Banish unit. Banish stands for B'nai Yeshiva. B'nai Yeshiva. So Penny's Banish unit is all boys that have done this Torah program, these 2 years in yeshiva, followed by another year, and kind of sandwiched with their service in between. So wow, it's a beautiful thing.
How's the communication with your family and your parents when you're
tell us.
in Eretz Yisrael?
So whenever we have 1 hour a day. Usually, unless we're training in the desert or we're doing exercises in the field, we usually have an hour a day, and that hour a day is dedicated to basically just personal time. So you have time to shower, you have time to call your parents, you have time to eat. And honestly, one thing that I've learned in the army is just value your time, because this hour goes by so quickly. It's one of the reasons why Shachris, Mincha, and Mariv are so like important and they're so like meaningful, because you have time. It's not like you're rushing to finish your Shemona Esrei. You have time. You have usually it's around 45 minutes on a regular day and 50 minutes on a laning day. So you're really like, okay, great. I have time to just close my eyes during Shemona Esrei and just talk. And it's like you really, really value it, because during this 1 hour, there's 37 guys with me. There's maybe 8 or 9 showers. So you have to get online to shower, then talk to your family, and then still manage to like try to relax for a few minutes, because as soon as time's up, they're checking your beds to make sure you're sleeping.
Wow.
So usually I could speak to them for around 15 minutes a day. If I'm on base. If not, then I try.
It's a specific time, or it's random time.
It's random. It's just the end of the day.
We can sometimes go 4 days and not hear from you.
Yeah. So like if we're training in the field or if we're out doing whatever they need us to do, I'll text them. I'll say, look, I'm going out right now. I don't know when I'm coming back. Just that I'm not going to be here, and I'm not going to have my phone on me.
Wow. As a parent, Rabbi Delman, how does that feel, not knowing what, where, how?
It's nerve-wracking. It's certainly nerve-wracking. Penny does as best as he can, to kind of give us a little bit of like early notice. So again, as Penny said, when he's on base, so we can speak to him. But then when he's in the shatach is like in the field. There's no cell phones, no cell phone service, and they don't allow cell phones either. So they'll say, and they won't get, as he said, they won't give him much lead time either. So he wakes up at whatever time in the morning. They say, all right, we're off to the shatach, and they go. And Penny will tell us, we're in the shatach for 4 days. I'll speak to you on Thursday, or something like that. But he's makbid he's careful, Erev Shabbos certainly to be in touch. Motzei Shabbos, as soon as Shabbos is over in Eretz Yisrael, to leave a text message, everything's fine. From a parent's perspective, the anxiety is real. And when I say the anxiety is real, is news is scary to me now. As I'm sure every person in the room is, we're all on these WhatsApp chats, national news, and we hear these, stories coming in, and even boys in Penny's particular unit, unfortunately, who have lost their lives. And I can't help but think that, obviously worst case scenario, whatever it is. But I remind myself again and again that to focus on my emunah, and that Penny is where he needs to be. And I think that's really, really important. I was kind of answering this question in my mind, and I think the truth is, in these past 10 days, unless I'm very, very honest, in these past 10 days, I feel like I've learned more about not only my son, but about my relationship with my son in reference to the army. So I'll tell you what I mean. I'm going to try to answer this as a therapist, because I'm a therapist, but also as a rabbi and a father, okay? As a therapist, I have to come, and I hope I don't embarrass my son by saying this, I have to come to the grips with the fact that my son and all soldiers of the IDF are heroes. Heroes. And I'm going to explain to you why I use the word hero, or I'll use the word extraordinary. Person's a gadol hador. Person's a great, great rabbi. So you get all the yashikayachs and the pats on the back. But being a great, great rabbi also means you have the weight of the world's questions on your back. So with great power comes great responsibility. So it's a great feeling to have a son who's serving. It's a great feeling. I get a lot of yashikayachs. I get a lot of back pats and handshakes and hugs. It's amazing. It's amazing. But understand, with great power comes great responsibility. So I am accepting the fact that I have a son who's extraordinary. And I believe every parent who has a child in the IDF has to accept that their child is extraordinary. And that comes with all the positives and also all the challenges that come with it. That's from that way. From a father's perspective, I had a great ha'ara this week also. So Penny didn't mention this part, but like just being here was kind of a surprise to all of us. It was a very beautiful surprise.
Meaning the fact that he came to America.
Yeah, I mean, he had chofshi, means they gave him a few days off. So a lot of the soldiers go here, they go vacationing. My son Baruch Hashem came to visit us.
Oh wow! What a nice surprise! You knew about it?
I did not know about it. Oh. No, nobody knew about it. He just
knocked on the door.
Yeah,
literally. Yeah.
it came down to the wire. I bought my plane ticket before I even knew I was like legally able to fly.
He's property of the
I
state.
bought it last
so
week,
he's got permission.
and or the week before I was able to come in. And I was talking to my commanders, and they said, "Look, we're not promising you that you could fly because of the situation right now, but as a lone soldier, we do have like extra rights. So one of them was that there was a better chance that I could come out, and I literally had 15 minutes to throw all of my stuff into a bag and get on my plane. It was crazy, but Baruch Hashem, it was worth it. I get
So this is kind of I was just like sitting on the couch like earlier in the week. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday, and Penny's sitting on the couch, and he's I see in his face he's a bit forlorn, he's a bit sad. So I'm a father, I'm concerned, and I say, Penny, like what's eating you, like what's going on? And he said something to me I think I'll never forget. He says, like, Dad, I don't belong here. Like I miss my unit, I miss my mifakid, I miss my commander, I miss my friends. I like if Penny's not up at 6 a.m. running marathons, like he's not. It's a mental thing at this point. And I think as a father, as much as we want our kids to be safe, we also want our kids to be happy. So when I see my son unhappy, I'm like, I don't want you to be unhappy. I want you to be where you need to be, right? So that further makes me feel in my heart that Penny is exactly where he belongs. And it makes me feel good to know that's where he belongs. And then finally, as a rabbi, I'll just mention kind of why we named Pinchas. Pinchas was named after his great-grandfather, who the Delman family emigrated from Hebron many years ago, before the establishment of the state. During the Hebron riots, when Arabs were coming through and murdering Jews left and right, my great-grandparents, actually it says great-great-grandparents, no longer felt safe and were forced with a heavy heart to leave Eretz Yisrael to make Yeridah, as we would say, to the United States.
Not Aliyah.
Right? Not Aliyah, Yeridah. And as we know, the Torah teaches us when you give a child a name, they embody that neshama a little bit. And this kind of goes back to the beginning of our discussion when you say like Penny, like why did you want to do this? Penny grew up in a very yeshivish environment, went to local yeshiva schools right here on Main Street, right? And I asked him, you're going to ask him today. He said, why do you want to do this? He said, and his answer to me is always, there's something inside me that says it's the right thing to do. So as a father, how are you going to argue with that? It's okay. That's his great-grandfather's neshama that says, I was forced to leave Eretz Yisrael in 1920 whatever, and now I have a great-grandson in my name who's going to fight for it.
Wow.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Very powerful. Very powerful. Watching this or listening to this, people might not be in Eretz Yisrael. We do have a following in Eretz Yisrael. We get the feedback, and we appreciate it, by the way. But those that are not there, what message could you give over to them, being that they can't be, I guess, for lack of better words, the front lines, and be involved with eradicating Amalek, I guess, in a sense, and our enemies. What can one do, in your opinion?
I mean, I don't know if I would call it, the front lines. Like, meaning the front lines is, it's saying a lot. As much as we have, lochamim and warriors on the ground, we also have them in the Beit Midrash. So I guess right. So I guess there's two aspects of the front line. From the combat aspect of the front line, the tefillot are really, really helping, and I've seen it firsthand. I have a friend who was Baruch Hashem, he's okay now, but someone shot an RPG at his base while he was learning, and but honestly, Ani Bemet, it was a nace that he survived.
Miracle.
And we all credit like 100% to his tefillos, and Baruch Hashem, he's doing well, and really like you really see the tefillot, and you really see like everything that as much as we are fighting, we're also learning, we're also davening, we're also trying our best, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So everyone, wherever you are in the world, the koach hatfilah, the power of our prayers for our fellow brothers in Eretz Yisrael, for the brothers and sisters. So final message is our minhag and Chazaq Torah Talks. I'll start with Pinchas, and I want to jump to Rabbi Delman. One message you give to our broad audience.
I don't know. I just keep doing what everyone's doing. Keep up the amazing tefillot.
Pray.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Amazing. 100%. We definitely will. Pinchas. Ben?
Tova Chava.
Tova Chava.
Pinchas Avraham ben Tova.
Pinchas Avraham ben Tova Chava. Bezat Hashem, we share B'Srot Tovot,
Amen.
share good news. Rabbi Delman.
So there's a million things to say. I'll just say one. And it's certainly been, the way that my wife and I have led our lives. It's certainly an indication of the work that we do at Chazaq. And it's certainly the way that we trained our children, which is, it should be very clear through this interview. And that is, Avat Yisrael is key to everything that we do, to religious Jews, to secular Jews, Jews that agree with you, and also Jews that don't agree with you. And one of the reasons why I think that this podcast is so important is because this is a hot button topic, but we need to be together on this. I'm more right wing. I'm more left wing. I agree with the government. I disagree with the government. Everyone has views and viewpoints, this and that and the other. But Avat Yisrael right now is the most important thing. And it's something that we see in Pinchas, in his personality. We told that story over. I'm going to give you a different Maisa, a different story that I think is just shows the type of person that Penny is, and the importance that I think that we here in Queens and around the world can work on to really bring people together. It was about 6 months ago when my wife and I went to Israel to be present for Penny's hashba'ah, for his swearing in, one of the proudest days of our lives, to see Penny get his chumash and his gun, his beret. It was incredible. We decided to go shopping Erev Shabbat down a particular area in Yerushalayim, and it was a very, very, very ultra Orthodox neighborhood. And perhaps maybe an oversight on myself. I maybe should have had a little bit more oversight in thinking about where we were going. Penny was dressed in his Madeh Aleph, which means his army regalia and his army uniform. And we walked down this particular street, and within a matter of minutes, we were surrounded by children, teenagers, adults, yelling at us and saying things again. And people are very politically charged one way or another when they see police or when they see soldiers in Israel. And it was a scary situation. I'll be honest. It was very, very scary. A lot of emotions, fear, concern, safety, anger. How could these people treat us this way? Don't they see that, we're fighting for them? But all these feelings, all together. And then Penny spoke. And he said, Daddy, I totally disagree with the way that these people treat us, but I will still fight for them. I will fight for them. Am echad, lev echad. We are a very, very disjointed family, but we are still a family nonetheless. And even though we disagree with some of our brothers and our sisters and our cousins and this and that, different political opinions, this and that, right now, Avat Yisrael is key. So if I could leave a message, love one another. Love one another. Our enemy are there to kill all of us. They're not there to kill the right wing or the left wing or those that voted for Bibi or those that didn't vote for Bibi or those that did or those that this, those that wear streimels and those that don't wear streimels. They're out to destroy Jews, period, in Israel and the United States and abroad. So if they don't differentiate between us, then certainly we shouldn't differentiate between us. So let's learn to love each other. Let's learn to work together.
Chazaq. Wow, very, very powerful message. Avat Yisrael, loving our fellow brothers and sisters. Israel, faith in fighting. Rabbi David Delman, Pinchas Delman. Thank you very much for joining us. What an amazing Torah talk. Chazaq, Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Chazaq.org/live, chazaq.org. Special thank you to the various different platforms that host Chazaq Torah Talk, with a special emphasis and thanks to our friends at Torah Anytime. Special thanks to Daily Giving. $1 a day goes a very far way. We encourage everyone to get involved and be a daily giver. A special thanks to the various different Chazaq members, staff members. Rabbi Delman runs the Chazaq J-Wave Teens Division, one of the directors, does an amazing job with all those boys and all the volunteers and the donors and the board members. We really appreciate it. And Bezat Hashem, we shall all hear B'Sorot Tovot, only good news.
Amen. Am
We shall
Yisrael Chai.
Bezat Hashem. You owe your sister a shout out. Don't forget.
I do.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Chaver, for
Being
For
a
always-
good audience.
for being the audience, for always hanging in there, for always smiling whenever I call and pushing me to, keep
And to
going.
all the siblings who also struggle with having their brother overseas. It's not just the parents, but also the brothers and the sisters who also have to deal
give them
with
a
the
shout out.
stresses.
Give them all a shout out.
Okay, to Sarah Bracha, our newly married daughter.
Yes.
It's been 6 months, 7 months married now, Baruch Hashem, and Sivia and Yocheved is here. Kayla and Yecheskel and Mordechai, our young boys. And Baruch Hashem will all go to school and go to camp, with their pride, with the pride that their brother is on the front lines in the Sakravi 601, fighting for Melchemet Mitzvah and leading the charge for Am Yisrael. We couldn't be prouder.
Shall be Zocher, shall merit to see the Geulah
Amen.
the redemption. It should be b'me'arav ben ismi yadei zemed b'amen. Chazaq, Baruch, Shkoch.
Okay.